What if I told you that the largest rainforest on Earth is actually made by humans? This is the Amazon, the most complex living organism on the planet. And it's not what you think it is. For centuries, we've considered it the ultimate wilderness. Untouched, impenetrable, completely untamed, and hostile to humans. It turns out we were completely wrong about it. Modern research now tells a dramatically different story. What we considered a virgin forest was actually engineered by human hands for millennia and at a massive scale. And now technology is uncovering a secret that European explorers desperately searched for but never found. These revelations are going to change our understanding of South America forever. And it turns out the Amazon holds a wild archaeological discovery that is still waiting to be fully uncovered. It is a story of what remains hidden in plain sight within our planet's most misunderstood ecosystem.
And then there's the weirdness that the jungle itself is actually man-made.
The Amazon is a colossal mystery.
Wow. Now when I first heard this, it was pretty abstract to understand. Now in order to answer the question how the largest living organism on our planet could actually be man-made, we need to understand its geography and how an entire civilization could remain hidden in it for centuries. The Amazon stretches across South America like a gigantic green ocean. The basin covers over 2 million square miles in 8 different countries. The majority of the forest can be found within the borders of modern-day Brazil. But significant other portions lie in the territories that belong to Peru, Venezuela, Colombia, and Bolivia, among others. And at its heart flows the largest river system that exists on our planet. Now, in order to understand how insanely large it is, let's zoom out for a bit. You gotta imagine a forest covering almost an entire continent. This rainforest is so large, it's visible from 250 miles above the planet, spanning across time zones and making even entire countries appear relatively small. So for comparison, it's a wilderness 3/4 as large as the United States. But despite its gigantic size, it is very sparsely populated with only 30 million residents. And it turns out that wasn't always the case. What we're about to uncover is gonna change our understanding of an entire continent. The forest cover is so dense that in many areas less than 1% of sunlight reaches the ground. This canopy stretches out for thousands of miles and reveals very little of the secrets it protects. Even today, with all modern technology, this forest cover is considered one of Earth's most effective natural camouflage systems. The next detail I find particularly fascinating. The Amazon contains 1/10 of all known animal species on Earth, and new specimens are discovered almost daily. The diversity ranges from exotic fish and reptiles to countless types of insects, birds, and even primates, each adapted to specific layers of the forest ecosystem. Naturalists in the 1800s documented many of these through detailed illustrations, capturing creatures that Europeans had never encountered. One of the most famous is this publication by Henry Walter Bates, and those hand-drawn records became the foundation of our understanding of Amazonian wildlife. But despite centuries of cataloging, researchers estimate we still only identified less than half of what actually lives in the region, which is pretty insane. The jungle color shifts through countless shades of green. Forest floors and tree trunks glow in a muted jade. Sunlit clearings often burst with more vibrant hues, and canopy leaves shine in deep emerald, casting mysterious blue shadows below. There is another layer to the story that you don't realize at first glance. With approximately 390 billion individual trees, navigation is nearly impossible. And that's why people usually travel the jungle in a completely different manner. While most other continents developed extensive road networks, the Amazon remains largely inaccessible by land, making its water network the lifeline of the region. Even today, the Amazon River serves as the primary transportation route rather than actual roads. This massive waterway forms a natural highway system that has been used for thousands of years. Rivers remain the only reliable mean of penetrating deep into the jungle, but even then, countless hidden waterways still remain unexplored. And this almost impenetrable jungle allowed something unusual to happen: the disappearance of millions of people. What comes next challenges everything we thought we knew. You see, for centuries, most scientists believed that the Amazon rainforest was an untouched wilderness basically, and therefore nothing about it seemed only remotely shaped by humans, obviously. Now, when the first European explorers ventured into the area in the 16th century, they encountered only small, scattered indigenous tribes, which seemed to confirm this view. The Amazon appeared to be a virgin landscape barely touched by humans. But it turns out this perception was fundamentally wrong. New evidence suggests that the area may have supported up to 8 million people before first European contact. This wasn't a sparsely populated place, but a home to complex societies with established infrastructure and agriculture. But how could entire civilizations disappear completely for centuries? Like, people didn't even know they existed. And that's where our modern understanding falls short. Today, almost 100 uncontacted tribes remain in the Amazon. Most countries established a no-contact policy, and these tribes are probably aware of the outside world, but they chose isolation due to some kind of historical trauma. Their ancestors left behind clues that would remain hidden for centuries until someone became obsessed with finding them. When the first Europeans ventured to South America, they became fixated on one thing: gold. The stories of El Dorado, a legendary city of gold and a king covered in gold dust, drove explorers deep into the jungle. They endured disease, starvation, and constant attacks. Still, this obsession continued for centuries. Maps marked potential locations throughout the Amazon basin. Some placed El Dorado near major rivers, others deep in the interior. Cartographers drew golden cities surrounded by lakes based on reports from failed expeditions, and each new map relocated this mythical place to another remote corner of South America basically. Expedition after expedition ventured into the forest, and most returned empty-handed, if they returned at all. But beneath the canopy lies evidence of something far more valuable than gold. And that's when everything changed. In 1910, a British explorer called Percy Fawcett took a different approach. After years of expeditions in the Amazon, he became convinced that an advanced civilization had once lived there. He called it the Lost City of Z, and unlike many of its peers, Fawcett wasn't primarily seeking gold. He was searching for evidence of a sophisticated society that had somehow vanished. His final expedition in 1925 ended in mystery. Fawcett, his son, and their companion disappeared in the jungles of Brazil, and they were never seen again. Many believe that Fawcett inspired the character of Indiana Jones, and Hollywood has made countless movies about these kind of quests. For decades afterward, however, Fawcett's theories were dismissed as fantasy. Scientists simply insisted that the Amazon's hostile environment couldn't support complex societies basically. So his quest was relegated to the realm of adventure stories. But there was one piece of information missing from this picture. The conventional wisdom, as it turns out, couldn't have been more wrong. Nobody realized that their cultural bias had created a massive blind spot basically. I mean, technically they were looking in the right place, but for the wrong thing. What Fawcett and other explorers couldn't see was hiding all around them, and the truth was far from what anyone had imagined. It took scientists almost a century to finally figure things out, and is not what we expected. according to modern analysis of his route, he may have walked directly over or alongside massive archaeological sites. The forest regenerates with incredible speed in the Amazon. The European obsession with gold effectively blinded them to the Amazon's true treasure. Evidence of advanced civilizations that had developed sustainable ways to live in one of Earth's most challenging environments. They were looking for a shiny metal when they should have been studying the forest itself. It took scientists almost a century to finally figure things out, and it's not what we expected. But before we go into the details, I wanted to give you an exclusive behind the scenes look on how I made this video. As a filmmaker, creating videos for YouTube often requires a lot of specific visual elements that are not always possible to record yourself. For instance, at the beginning of the video, I needed to illustrate the massive size of this forest by showing a shot from outer space. Now obviously I couldn't film this myself, so I simply went to motionarray.com and I typed in Earth from space, and that gave me access to hundreds of suitable clips that I could use for this video. They also provided the color grading presets to give the entire video that lush green look. Lastly, I downloaded some forest ambient sounds, and that helped to make everything a lot more realistic. Wow! As an independent creator, I've discovered that a licensing platform is absolutely essential for anyone making content in 2025 and beyond. Many creators know them for their massive library of templates and effects, and by using their assets, I can visualize the complete story flow and identify any narrative gaps, so I'm saving time and not wasting days on random edits. They have an unlimited downloads policy, which means you can download as many assets as you need. If you create videos and haven't tried Motion Array yet, you're seriously missing out on one of the best production resources available today. Their plans start at less than $15 for templates or $25 if you want everything, which is honestly ridiculously cheap considering the amount of value you get. And I've got something special for you. I'll give you 2 months for free on top of all of that if you sign up for an annual plan through my link in the description below. So everybody wins. You get free stuff, Motion Array gets a new customer, I can continue making these videos. Wow. With that said, back to the story. New satellite imagery has revealed thousands of geometric earthworks that are only visible when viewed from above. In fact, they're found in various places across the continent, but in the rainforest the main issue is visibility. Now obviously those satellite images were a game changer to map out things, but even with that, the forest cover is quite a big problem. We can only see the top layer of the Amazon. The canopy is so dense it basically hides everything. Now in the last couple of years, scientists discovered a new technology that turned conventional thinking on its head. It's called LiDAR, and in a nutshell, drones or aircraft can now fly over the forest and a laser will scan the ground and create a 3D map basically. The researchers found not just small scattered towns, but entire networks of ancient cities with pyramids, plazas, and sophisticated urban landscape covering hundreds of square miles. But it goes even deeper. Scientific studies have shown that the very composition of the Amazon forest itself has been shaped by human cultivation for up to 10,000 years, and the alteration of the landscape is quite extensive. Domesticated species like Brazil nut, acai, and cacao are 5 times more dominant than non-domesticated plants, and that is considered a really strong evidence of ancient forest management on a massive scale. This romanticized idea of an untouched wilderness or virgin forest turns out to be completely wrong. Indigenous people lived in the forest in huge numbers for millennia and also engineered it, creating what scientists now call cultural forest that still dominate the Amazon's plant composition until today. So you can think of the Amazon like it used to be a massive garden that had been temporarily abandoned following the demographic collapse in the 15th century. Perhaps the most astonishing, however, is that we've only uncovered a fraction of what remains hidden beneath the forest. Current estimates suggest less than 5% of archaeological sites have been identified, let alone properly studied. This means El Dorado, the lost city of Z, and all of those stories probably weren't fantasies after all. And the potentially greatest archaeological discovery is still waiting to be uncovered. And if scientists are correct, it hints at a network of ancient cities that were all interconnected, exactly what explorers believed existed but could never prove. Wow. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this topic interesting, you might also want to check out this video right here about the forgotten giants of Patagonia. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already. And with that said, see you later guys. Thank you so much.